Hello everyone, this is Michael and I am talking to you from the verse. And if you're not sure what the verse is, I encourage you to go to my website at rewritingtheverse.com. Check out the introductory video on there and definitely look at all the updates and videos that have already been posted about what I already am aware of about the verse. This is not going to be a typical video, although who knows, maybe this is how it's going to go from now on, because this is the second one that I'm not going to come in with maybe specific to verse information. And this goes out to everybody. I have referred to the people in the verse as people that have done whatever work, spiritual work, to get into this high level verse. And so it wasn't necessarily going to resonate for everybody. Well, it's 10:10, October 10th, and it's after 10:10 a.m. Central Time here in the U.S. And that statement will no longer be used here. We went through a huge portal this morning, and I talked about it, and definitely need to go back to the previous 10:10 portal video to understand what I'm going to be talking about today. I've been just going along with this journey along with everybody else, not knowing what's coming, just going with whatever flow, whatever I'm called to do, whatever I'm guided to do. So I did not see this coming. So let me go back to last night to tell you what transpired last night, and it had me experience what I did today, what we all experienced today at the exact same time. So last night, once again, I have to give a shout out to Little Light of Mind. I was once again watching her latest 10:10 video, and I had to pause it several times through along the way because I kept having things come in to give me more information. Whoops, sorry about that. Anyway, so once again, much of this information came through or surrounding her messages. She truly has been a beacon of light leading up to this portal. And again, I can only sing her praises, and her energy was just amazing last night. So I do strongly encourage you to go to her latest 10:10 portal reading. So I spoke about in my last video that I envisioned myself in like heading towards a horse race. So I'm going to continue with the horse references because this is my method, not just for me to understand. Oh, by the way, here's the card again. Not just for me, but I believe this is a visual that was put out there for everybody to be able to relate to this. By the way, that card is from Colette Baron-Reid's The Spirit Animal Oracle deck. Give her credit for that beautiful card. So yes, I referenced in the last video that I saw myself, I realized just a few days ago that there was a race that was about to start, like the race, the one that I had been training for lifetimes, that I had been born for. I mean, you'll see in that video that, wow, I had a huge revelation download a few days ago. And so I immediately saw myself, ultimately, I saw myself as a horse, galloping as fast as I possibly could to the gate so I wouldn't miss the race. The big race was about to come, which was the 10:10 portal. And I had to get there, and there was nothing that was going to take my eyes off the prize. I was not going to turn my head for anybody. This was about me, my solo journey, and me running towards my highest self, running towards my destiny. And that was definitely an act of self-love, which is going to play a huge role. And you may be able to see over the last 24 hours or so what you did in probably the last 24 hours to do something out of love for yourself. And in speaking to others, it looks very different for everybody. But you could probably identify one thing that you did yesterday, or you said, or you thought, or something that shifted. And in some way it contributed to you, and only you. For especially those that are polarized to the light, or were polarized to the light, that was one of our toughest lessons. So whatever it was yesterday that you did, in a non-selfish way. Focus on yourself and what was best for yourself. That was what unlocked the gates from this side, the horse gates, basically. We're going to a horse race. We were each lined up and running for our own individual gates. And it was important that we let go of everybody else. We weren't going to get into that gate with anybody else. It had to be each individual, and I could see the visual, long string of gates, and each one had one of our names on it. So that's what I'd been doing for like a couple days. But then last night, I realized that one of my Trinity, and again, if you don't know what that is exactly, you're going to need to, actually, it's not in the introductory video. You will have to watch the video specifically about Trinities to be able to understand what I'm referring to. So please look at that. But I was very aware that my personal Trinity was still under attack. And we've done so much to unify with our verses, and our third person in the Trinity is also another versa. We had already gone through the union, the full fusion of the Trinity over a week ago. Some of us, and by now all of us, everybody had been unified in some way with their Trinity. We were still under attack last night. As I'm running, I'm aware that one of my Trinity is battling the darkest, really the darkest of dark energy. You know, that energy that I referred to from Atlantis that was the Nazis. She was battling that. She was having to, well, defeat it in her own way before she could actually, you know, fully head towards the gate too. So I was like, uh-oh. Now, granted, I have to say that my typical persona is to want to go in and, you know, slay the beast for them, you know, or at least alongside them. But I realized, no, this was the part of that solo journey of running. We had to deal with our own individual demons and defeat them in our own individual way. And if anybody tried, even out of the kindness of their heart, with pure intentions, if anybody took that from them, well, we weren't going to get out of here. So I knew all I could do was hold a space for them and know that as a Trinity, we shared the same soul. Therefore, they had access to everything that myself and the other versa in our Trinity has, and we were one. We were one, and yet that aspect was the one that needed to do the actual final death blow to the dark. And what that did, we were already fused, so something happened that I didn't even understand in that moment. I felt it. Somehow, the fusion that was already there went, and that this level of unity between the Trinities has never existed before. It was so compressed. It had come down to a singularity at a whole nother level. Even I was like, what's happening? That's what I usually do when I don't know what's happening. I want to see what's happening. I want to understand. And I was basically shown that when that happened, when that level of fusion happened, I saw the dark energy disintegrate and disappear. Instantaneous with the moment that that level of solidarity happened with the Trinity. Even I couldn't have called that one. I was like, oh my goodness. And I knew. And it wasn't just my Trinity that did that. Every Trinity in that moment got to that level of fusion. Whatever cracks there still were, that the dark energy was able to get in and cause fear, because that's what it fed on. It fed on fear. It fed on, well, fear is a big one, but sadness, any of those lower vibrating emotions, it fed on it. That's the only way it could survive, because it was a parasite. And an offshoot of that is something I understand now is it was a false persona, a false personality, to be real simple about it. that had been attached to the main living being that we were before, and it had been able to attach and distort our entire reality, making us think that it was a part of us, that one, we needed to fear it also, but ultimately it not only detached it last night, it literally could not exist anymore. It starved to death in a second because it got not a single shred of fear from any of us. I'm not just talking about my Trinity here. Not a single one of you out there allowed a space for it to get in. And that's why it disappeared. And that's why I went, game over. Game over. Where we're headed, well, actually, now on the other side of 1010, where we are is heaven. Now, of course, yes, I'm using that term because the Christian term is the best thing I can think of but I'm not talking about any particular belief system here, okay? I'm just using that as something to reference it as. That energy could not exist here. And so we were either going to have to fully let go of that and be free of it, or not escape and not make it to the race. Well, the moment it disappeared, I saw my Trinity, our individual, if you want to call them horses, because that's what I keep seeing myself as, running horse. Right after that, all of a sudden I saw that we didn't need to be separate anymore. It was no longer a separate individual sprint to the gate anymore. Now all of a sudden I saw my horse morphing. Changes of colors of the eyes to represent my other Trinity's eye colors. We were becoming, and we did become, one horse. So all of a sudden, 3 separate great gates became one gate. And this happened for every Trinity last night. So all of a sudden we got bigger gates, but there's fewer of them. And I knew intellectually, but I didn't know how to do it, and I knew it wasn't the right time last night. I knew intellectually what ended up happening this morning was going to happen. Now that we were completely free, and this may be why the horse spirit energy, freedom is yours. That may be why that was the totem animal for this part of the journey. The level of freedom that was experienced once that dark energy was finally gone. Not even in existence anymore. It didn't just go away where it could come back later. It doesn't exist anymore. That all of a sudden there would be a unity like has never occurred before. So now, this morning, I was discussing with my spirit partner, Arcana Star, about the upcoming opening of the gate at 10:10 a.m. Central Time for us. And I knew it was time for the final union. So with her, we held the space. And within the last 10 minutes before the gate opened, there was only one gate. One gate. A huge gate, because there was a lot of one pulsing light energy being that was going to go through it. So I'm here to tell you right now, and everybody, every single being that was not that false personality is here. Every single soul is here in heaven right now. As free as you have ever been in this lifetime, and really any time in the past. In fact, speaking of time, one of the things I realized, there is no time here. All the constructs in our mind about how long things should take, what, methodical, whatever, it isn't just different here. It's not just different time here. There is no time. This is what I know. It is only flow here. That means things could unfold however, well, a lot of manifestation, a lot of ways that we have a lot more freedom in how things unfold now. And with that freedom comes absolute openness to whatever comes next. There's an absolute freedom here. I can't describe it, but I know no matter how skeptical you are about what I'm sharing right now, part of you knows this is true. Part of you feels a freedom today that you have never felt in this lifetime or any other. Even in Lemuria, I've referenced that as part of one of the groups that was connected to all this. This is way beyond what Lemuria ever reached. And this is way beyond anything Atlantis ever reached on its own either. And now we're all here. Every group that ever was and is here right now. I felt the sun energy connected to this side of the gate. Felt it ahead of time. I knew we were coming into that energy, that we were coming out of a very dark place, and that's what we would feel on the other side. We would feel the warmth of the sun, really feel it on the other side of the gate. I was wrong. We are the sun. We are the sun. We are the radiant love and joy and peace that comes with that symbol. We are that. But we as in separate entities over here, although we have total personal freedom. A new word came to me today. Now maybe it's written somewhere. I haven't researched it, but I'm going to claim this idea, as a channeled message. We didn't just go into singularity last night, or maybe that was what it was last night. Okay, let's just say that's what it was last. We came into a singularity with our trinities. Today, we came into solarity. And the core word in that being solar. With the singularity into one point of light. So that's where we're at. I'm getting lots of other information today, but this was the message. I could not wait. They said, get in the shower and get online right now, because this needs to be put out there to the world right now. Cannot leave people in a vacuum of what happened. So this is my experience of what happened. I do hope it resonated for you. I know everybody is here. I know everybody made it in to the sun and are feeling that sun energy today. And there's no going back. This is what we get to live in now. Our own version of heaven can be manifested right now. Thank you to all that listened, that heard the call, that did the work. Everybody did. Everybody did. Thank you to everyone. I'm so grateful to the collective. And there's only one collective now, by the way. Not just a collective or the collective. It's just one. We all made it back together. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.